Can you hear that? The Mossberg 500's great, great, great grandfather wanted to tell you something. You don't say, Grandpa. Well, good to be back with a Mossberg shotgun. Let's check this thing out. Mossberg's in the house. Milsurp Garage here with the Mossberg 200K 12 gauge. Let's just soak it in from this weird butt plate. This genuine American walnut stock. The finger groove trigger guard. That top of the receiver safety Mossberg was always so fond of, even way back in 55 when this thing was made. We're missing our little nubs, a green and red nub. Nice solid looking receiver. Recoil lug here. Actual dovetailed sight in there. And whoa, check out this forend. How weird is that? It isn't like a whole, like the wood all, look at it. That's crazy. And no magazine tube. We got a magazine well here. No magazine. Yep, that's right. Bought this thing without a magazine. What is that, 28-inch barrel? We got the C-Lect Choke. The C-Lect Mossberg choke on here. Adjustable. And check this out. Ported barrel behind the choke on either side. How sick. Sick. Nylon. Look at this thing. Insane. All right, so, boy, where to start? So I walked into a gun store. I saw it sitting there, and I said, that one right there, just tell me how much it is so I can start counting. Because I knew I was getting it. It didn't have the mag, and I didn't care. You know why I didn't care? This is why I didn't care. I went on Numeric, not sure. But you know which company I'm talking about. I went on there, and here's what I see. Original mag. There it is, way down on the bottom. It lists a whole bunch of model numbers, and we'll get to that. And on the bottom there, you see 200K. So it's an original one. There's also this. If all else failed, they do have aftermarket, but you know how it is with aftermarket. Although the shotgun mags, I think, are a little bit more reliable than, like, say, the 22 mags or the other mags. But still, just a big fan of original stuff. I order it, and here's what comes. Let's check it out. Yeah, here's the bill. That's the good part. $45.70. That's without shipping. It is what it is. And here, this is weird. So it comes. You know, Numeric is a New York company. They've been around for a really, really long time. Look at the paper it's packed in. Tuesday, April 5th, 2022. They've been holding on to newspaper since 2022 to package their stuff up. And look at 2022. What were they talking about? Tickets on sale for Maverick, Arts Group. Gas prices fall in the mid-Hudson Valley. Great. Let's see what's over here. Oh, here we go. This is a great story. Here's a great story to stick in there with my magazine from one of the greatest parts suppliers in Gunville. Study finds higher homicide risk in homes with handguns. Yeah, great. That's it. Spread the fake news there, guys. Should be editing your newspaper that you send me there. But here it is. I'm sorry, I'm just joking around. I love Numric. Numric? Not sure. Here's the mag. Whoop, there's a little off there. There's a couple of things about it that are weird. It does get stuck like that. It's okay. It is what it is. I cleaned it out. It did come kind of nasty. But one thing that was weird was that it fit. I was all happy that it fit in here, but it would go in like that, and then I could just pull it right out. Like there was nothing like holding it in. And if you look in there, there's right there. There's a sharp thingamahiggy. See it in there? Looks like it's supposed to be catching on something. All right, so the mechanism was there, but there was nothing on here. So what I did was I just put it in and out a million times till I saw where that was rubbing. You could see the little rub mark right there. See it? And then right where the rub mark ended, I knew that's where the tip of that piece right there was landing. And I cut just a little Dremel divot right there. And then that was just enough to get it to click into that divot and stay there. So there you go. But I'm convinced it's not the right mag. I mean, if it didn't have that cut out there, it's not the right mag. And we'll get to that later on. I'm gonna get out my encyclopedia, my Brownell's encyclopedia, and we'll take a look. I'll show you what I think is going on. What do we got here? So we got some ads here. Let's take a look. Let's look at some print stuff that I have here. Mossberg introduced the first shotguns equipped with a variable choke, the famous C-Lect Choke. Also the first shotguns with quick interchangeable choke tubes. Mossberg pioneered the first popular price telescopic sights, the first rifles with peep sights, the first carbines with hinged forends, and a long list of other firsts. I think this was their first pump action. And hand-rubbed walnut, Monte Carlo design, custom recoil pad, red firing position indicator. We'll take a look at that. Clip magazine holding 2 shells with 1 in the chamber. Yep. And barrel precisely concentric. This is an interesting one. Let's switch over to this. This is pretty cool here. This is the gun of the year. Here are some of the reasons. I wonder who voted it gun of the year. Mossberg. Mossberg voted it the gun of the year. Mossberg 200, new look at pump shotguns. It's the new look. That nylon forend there like that. There's no other gun quite like it. The number 200 sets a new standard. And you know what? After this, nobody ever did that again, not even Mossberg. So, I don't know, maybe that standard didn't go over so well, or maybe I'm hearing that's a part that broke a lot on these was that forend. You know what I mean? Because people have a tendency to really beat the crap out of a pump part of a pump shotgun. And even though this thing did have double, it had like an action bar on either side. The thing is, it's plastic. You know what I mean? And you can imagine if someone really beats it up. I'm careful to treat it gentle here. But what do we got? Thumb operates the safety. The only pump with this important feature. No need to take your eye off the target. I don't know. Does any safety you really have to take your eye off the target? I get to look for it. I get maybe that's true. I mean, the cross bolts are easy to find with your index finger. I found shooting trap with this thing a few times. I accidentally knocked the safety on, so I don't really like it back there where it's at. But that debate will go on with the Mossberg lovers of whether it should be back there or not. The removable rear dovetail, so you could take that sight off and put on anything else you want. Firing position indicator, conveniently close to the trigger finger. You see instantly whether the gun is cocked or ready to fire. I'll show you that. We'll take a look. Disconnecting trigger. After firing, trigger must be released before the next shot. Avoids dangerous inadvertent double. I mean, don't you always have to release the trigger before the next shot? I mean, don't you always have to do that? Maybe they're saying like it's not slam fire, so it's safe. That's what the disconnecting trigger is. They're trying to make it like as if slam fire is a bad thing. Maybe back then, maybe yeah, around 1955, it was like kind of like a big thing, the slam fire thing, right? Was it? I don't know. Checkered unbreakable nylon. I don't think that's true. Um, it accentuates the beauty of the gun. Sounds kind of like they're trying to convince you of that, doesn't it? I don't think it looks ugly. It's very distinctive. I saw it immediately when I looked along the line of guns in the gun store. Pump operates on two slides, one at each side, assures velvety smooth free action. The dealer will tell you that Mossberg has a reputation for trouble-free operation. That's because we build quality into our guns at every point, and that's just what we've done with the number 200. We're proud to bring this outstanding value to our friends at Sportsman of America. Awesome. Yeah, this is an awesome shotgun. Don't let its weird looks fool you. And here, I'd love to get one of these. This is the instructions. I know it's really small. It was very tough to get anything like this to be able to steal it from someone online and put it up here. Everything was all printed small and difficult to read. And I have one here on paper, but it's like just as small, and I need a magnifying glass to read it. Suffice to say, we got all we need right here. Let's check out our list of Mossberg guns. Let's go to the beginning. So on our first page with our older 22s, we still got nothing. Second page, 22s in the 50s and 60s. We got some stuff. Here is the 740T, which, by the way, let me bust that out right now. I want to show you what I did. I put that Bushnell scope on it. That was on the, what was it, 342 KA or something, with the iron sighter where you could look underneath. Okay, this was the 22 Magnum Mossberg too, by the way. Was the 740T. Check this out. I'll show you something that's really bugged. Mossberg had this magazine design going. You know, we've looked at these before. They've had these magazine designs going the whole time. This really worked for them. This very solid bar that the clip on the magazine there connects to. You thought I was going to call it a clip, right? But that's the clip on the magazine. And see, this worked. This worked so much so they're carrying it through. They really hung in there with this, because you see it has that same very, very strong steel thing on there. Yes, it does. Where were we? 740T. All right, so we only got one on this page here. Then it breaks into shotguns. No, this is like centerfire rifles. Here, when we move into the shotguns, we have two. I got those videos back there: the 83 and the 183 DB, the 410 bolt actions. These things are awesome. And then here we go. The next page. This is the big boys here. 200K, 1955 to 1956. So here's the story. They came out with a 200K and a 200D. The 200D is the same shotgun with 3 detachable chokes. Those ones that screw on, like you see them on the video with the 410. They screw on, like on the outside of the barrel. So 55 to 56, there was a D with the screwable chokes, or there was a K with C-Lect Choke. In 56, they changed it. So it's basically 55. Pretty sure these were made in 55. Say 55 to 56, but in 56 is when they made the switch over. They changed the stock. They were cracking. Something about that, there was some kind of, there was hemorrhaging going on. They were breaking these stocks. And that's why I went to shoot trap with it. I was using the mildest stuff I could use. This is where I dug in, right here. They're an ounce and an eighth, but it's 11.45 on the lot. It's like nothing crazy here. It wasn't up at the 13.50 on the velocity. It's not so much that you look at the amount of shot or the size of the shot. that you could really start studying like pressures and stuff. I don't know what else is on the box, but you really just want to look at, in my opinion, you just want to look at the speed. If the speed is tame, it's not going to beat the gun up as much. The faster you want it to go, the more violent that report is going to be, and the more shock you're imparting into the gun. If you're worried about cracking stocks, use low velocity ammo, or the lowest that you've got in your repertoire there. So mine would be, it's the K, it's before the changeover. You know what I knew about that even when I bought it? I looked at, I always look at these. I pulled this up. I have this on my phone, and I look to see. And then there's the 600, the New Haven. So the change to the stock, I don't know what it was. Okay, I was looking. I wanted to show pictures. Obviously, I wanted to be like, this is what the stock looked like. This is what mine looks like. This is the changes that they made. That would be a pivotal thing to do for this gun, right? I can't find anything. I'm sorry. They look the same on the outside. If you look at the K and the KA, I don't really see a difference. And at first, I saw a KA and I saw this and I said, oh, they put a recoil lug through it, I thought that's what it was, but it wasn't, because I looked at mine and I was like, wait a minute, I have that. So it was just it was a little odd. Oh, so here's what that thing is, the cocking indicator. See that red dot on the pump release lever? So it sticks down like that. You can also feel it with your finger if you're used to how far this sticks out. You could just feel it and know also in the dark or whatever. But it also has this little dot on it. And that'll tell you, so when you shoot, what's weird is it doesn't come down. So you wouldn't know, even though it's not decocked anymore. So it's weird. It's not a true cocking indicator because I just pulled the trigger and dropped the hammer. So, but if you push the slides, I'm going to take the slide and push it forward, and then watch it. Now it falls down if I push. It's whatever. It's kind of gimmicky. I don't know how. It might be just that's how the lever was acting, and it was doing that, or it could, and they just like, I don't know, just put a dot on it and say it's a cocking indicator. Turn some weird way that it's functioning mechanically into something that you could use. But here's the thing. The mag, I don't even need the mag. The mag, I don't even need. All I needed the mag so that when I have the action open like this, right? Snap caps, inert, nothing inside, okay? When I'm shooting trap, I need to drop this in here and close. And you can't do that if there's no magazine there. And now when I was testing this thing, listen to this hammer drop here. That sounds like weak as hell. And I was like, oh no, it's not gonna have enough juice to set it off. I was like, and I felt like that before. I've had that feeling before where I'm like, oh, it's maybe I should just I don't want to be embarrassed at the trap range, so I got to go switch guns because it's not working. Meanwhile, look at this. It's putting a huge dent in these things. I have no problem. I shot 3 rounds with it, and there wasn't one failure to fire. There wasn't one failure to reject. There wasn't a failure to feed. There wasn't a failure to do anything. This thing is super reliable. The only thing is, just the cracking. I see some of them, they're cracked here. Whoa. Okay, that's just the wood. I got scared. Saw that, but that's definitely just in the wood. It's not good that there's a grain right across there, though. That sucks. There's a wood grain mark right there because I think that weakens it. I've seen them cracked here. I've seen them cracked here. Yeah, I've seen pictures of them cracked. These are the 2 mounting screws, and I guess you want to put them a little snug, but you don't want to go crazy. This one goes into the plastic trigger guard, so you can't really go crazy. But this one, I just take it easy, snug it down, but relax. This guy should be nice and snug. This one was loose. I was able to tighten it on either side. We'll take a look inside, and we'll see exactly exactly what's going on inside this thing. I'm not going to go crazy taking it apart. You got to knock some pins out, and this thing is tight, and I don't want to knock any pins out. But let's take a look in the take a look in the Book of Glare, the Encyclopedia of Modern Firearms. Brownell's book. Let's get in here. So first of all, here's a nice picture of it right here. Let's look at this. Let's read this together. This is an awesome description. This is the best description of a gun ever. Model 200K 12 gauge barrel. Tapered blued steel 28-inch. Wall thickness precisely concentric. Chamber to muzzle. That's interesting. I never heard that before. That's something that they're claiming here. And it's in their literature, Mossberg. Wall thickness precisely concentric. Chamber to muzzle. Yeah, you would think it would have to be, right? Includes C-Lect Choke positive visual settings for full, modified, and improved cylinder bore, or any point in between. Barrel ventilated behind the C-Lect Choke. Chambered for all 2 3/4 inch shells, including 2 3/4 inch magnums. I don't know what that is. I've never seen a 2 3/4 inch magnum. Must have been like a 50s thing. Takes rifled slugs. So yeah, here's the C-Lect Choke. So the way this works, right now it's set to full. So yeah, if you turn it, it rides up, and there's lines here. See these lines? So it's still on full until you see the line for modified. Now you see there's a line for modified. And then there's a line up here for cylinder. So you could, if you stop right there, you're at cylinder. A few more turns, now you're at modified, would be right about there. And then you can go in between, improved, modified, whatever, like right there. You know what I'm saying. And full would be right about there. And there's the front bead sight. Sighting down this thing, it looked really nice. It had a really nice sight picture with this. Has this weird dovetailed rear sight. Doesn't really have a notch in it. You know what I mean? So it's very shotgunny. You just kind of putting that barrel bead where you need to put it, just like you would if you're looking over the top of a receiver, even though it has a sight. But it was right on. I mean, I had to cover it just a teeny bit. It was just basically like right on. If you were aimed right on the bird, you hit it. And that's pretty good if you're going to have those kind of sights. That's the way you would want it. You know what I mean? Where are we? Stock, genuine American walnut. Oh, you probably went way ahead now. And now I'm just reading something you just read. Genuine American walnut, not just walnut finish. That's cool that they specify that. One piece, Monte Carlo design, cushion rubber recoil pad, and custom type checkered beaver forend of nylon with a lifetime guarantee. And Mossberg's still in business. You telling me if I send them a broken nylon forend from a 200 from 1955, they're going to, yeah. New design and dual arm action slide to assure smooth operation. Action easily removable in 2 units. Extra safe breech lock. Disconnecting trigger. Firing position indicator clip magazine holds 2 shells with 1 in the chamber. Hence, with an extra clip, you supply an extra clip? No, then stop making claims of what happens with. All right, you get off 5 shots faster than with any other 3-shot shotgun in shooting migratory game. You're shooting migratory game, and they're trying to say legally you can only have 3 shots, but you don't have to reload. You got the magazine, so you could it's like you're going to war with the geese, and you could have mags all over you, and you're slapping them in and out, and that's legal, and you just birds flying out of the sky because you're just dropping them like flies. That's the picture. That's the picture I'm getting. There's some guy with magazines all over, in pouches all over him. Dovetail on receiver, replaceable with any regular adjustable sight. 7.5 pounds. Length overall 49 inches. Easy takedown. Yeah, it's pretty easy. It is. It's just 2 screws. And so here's some info, whatever. They tell you how to load 2 shells, how to load 3. I mean, it's like, yeah, that's kind of obvious. There was a little interesting stuff here about disassembly that was helpful right here. and here. Never got this far. I didn't take it apart enough to take the trigger, the trigger housing out. I didn't want to do that because you have to knock out pins, and I didn't want to mess around. I said, let me see how it acts. If it acts like it needs to be cleaned, like if the hammer wasn't dropping hard enough and I had to go in there and clean it, I would do that. But I didn't have to. Now here's the parts list is kind of interesting. Let me angle this a little so you guys can see it. So the parts list. This was the 200K and the D. Okay, so this right here is the K and the D. So this would be the C-Lect Choke. Now what they did was the picture here is for both. So you see here's the removable chokes. So it's 2010. So it's a full modified and improved cylinder. Full modified improved cylinder. So they screw over the end of the barrel. This is the C-Lect Choke. These are the two parts to it. This is the part that connects to the barrel. This is the thing that screws over it. So they only used one picture with both parts. So I'm looking at it trying to go, okay, what's different? And I see that this barrel is 963 or 1037. And if we go over here to the DA and the KA, right? And then it's even written a little different. And I'm like, what are the differences? I want to know what the differences are between the two guns, right? And this is identical. And I'm like, even the description of the parts is identical. I go, wait, but the barrels are different. So they changed the barrel. No, they didn't. Of course, the barrel has to be different. One has the removable chokes and one has the C-Lect choke. So I'm like, oh, there you go. Yeah, there has to be two different barrels for the two different choke systems. The reason why you don't see any difference here is because the difference was the stock and Brownell's here. They're just listing all the mechanical parts, all the metal. They don't have the stock there as a part. Or maybe we could see what the difference is, or the two different part numbers. But other than that, I compared everything. Everything else is the same. They changed nothing but the stock. That's it. So technically the magazine should be the same for both. But here's the thing. Now, let's go back again. Let's take a look at the magazine, the numeric ad for the magazine. Look, they have like 195 in here, right? 195, here it is. It's a bolt action, okay? And here's the mag. Mag for Brownells is part number 923. Over here, here's a bolt action. This is the 195, 195D, right? 923, 923, 923. Over here, 994. It's a different magazine. It even looks different. See how it doesn't have, but see how it has that line on it? The one I bought does have that line on it. So I don't know, but they're saying it fits both. And look, here it is. Again, so 994, 994, 923. So why is Brownells listing this? I trust this. And they're listing it as a different magazine, yet Numeric is selling it as a magazine that fits for both guns. That's why it's no surprise that there's like a little bit of an issue why it's not fitting. For me, it's not fitting in there. You know what I mean? All right, let's get this thing apart and take a look inside. What do we got here? We have a set of takedown screws this time. We have two. And again, these big, fat, wide screw heads. You want to make sure you get a bit like this get this out of the way. You want to make sure you get a bit like this that will literally stand up in these screw heads. Even this one. It's leaving a little bit of movement that I don't approve of, but this one is really tight for this guy. And this one, it goes into plastic here. So this one is nowhere near as tight. So this is a little different than the 22s. Let's get the mag out, actually. a little different than the 22s because of the pump handle. But I'm going to show you. This is pretty cool how this comes apart. Let's just zoom out just a touch here. So you lift the barrel out, and this slides right off. If you notice the way they did this, it's really interesting. It doesn't mar the wood. Look at the wood, even though this thing's sliding back and forth on it. That's amazing, right? I mean, maybe this one just has low mileage, but the smoothness in here, just the way they designed this, it's actually touted its smoothness, and I got to admit, it is pretty smooth. Felt like this wasn't, that's got to be fully unscrewed right there. There we go. So what we got here is a little bit different than we're used to. But look, hey, look at the routing job done in here. A little bit different than the usual torn apart that we see. And here's that. Here's what wasn't working apparently for some reason. This goes across. This goes like underneath and wraps around those two screws that go through there. And this here sits on top of the inside of here, and on top of it, this ring around the outside. I don't know. I don't see a problem. What's cracking? Seems pretty strong, you know. This stock definitely seems pretty solid. Very surprising. But take a look at the mechanism here. There's nothing here that we haven't seen before. That's for sure. But this is unique. The way these action bars connect. Pretty interesting. I didn't even look. Do we have a number? Do we have a 55 down here? We do not. That would have been cool. Actually, I think I did take a pretty close look. It'd be nice to get the bolt out just to like really spray it out with gun scrubber. I don't know if I would disassemble the bolt because there's knocking pins out of here too. But here it's the see, this one's moving even. This pin right here is moving. This one isn't. Oh yeah, it clicked when I pushed it. Yeah, it's moving. I could push these out pretty easily without loosening anything, but I don't know. I just don't think it's time to go in here. I don't know. I know this the trigger housing comes off, then this back plate slides down, and the bolt comes right out the back of the receiver and disconnects from these action bars. That much I know. I've seen pictures of it. Here's where it would disconnect. But not really ready to take this one completely apart just yet. I'm not. I'm going to wipe it down a little bit so we put it back together and we don't have any nasty hand oils on here. We drop it back into the stock. Let's just hope it just drops right back in there. There we go. And then pump arm slides on and down. Nice. There we are. I think this is a pretty cool design. I got to be honest with you. It's intriguing. I wonder why it never really caught on, this way of putting the shotgun together. It's has much more in common than a rifle, than a lot of the other designs in shotguns that had the mag tube with the you know, with the pump arm going over the magazine tube. That just became a very common way of doing things, and making it more like a rifle like this just didn't catch on for some reason. Kind of interesting. So let's cut to shooting it. What was it like to shoot it? I got to admit, I had more fun shooting this shotgun than I've had with a lot of shotguns for a while. This this really gelled with me, this shotgun. I don't know what it was about it. At first, I was a little worried the magazine was going to fall out when I pulled the trigger. I'm like, all right, so I got it to stay in, cutting that little chamfer in it. But I was worried that the recoil would knock the magazine out. I was worried it was going to fall out. I was worried that the hammer wasn't going to fall hard enough to set it off. You can see on the first shot here that I took, I turned around to the puller because I had mentioned to the puller what was going on. And I just wanted to let her know, like, there's a good chance that I might walk off the line and swap out to another shotgun. And when I pulled it, you know, because it's old. And but then it just worked like not a problem. I was completely unfounded. I shouldn't have worried about it at all. Not only did the magazine stay in place, every single shot worked, everything. So, like, after the first few shots, actually, this first game here wasn't my greatest game ever. It's not like I shot really great with it. It's just something about it. I just loved how I felt like if I missed, it was me. And I felt like I had to learn how the trigger was absolutely horrible. The trigger is terrible, but it was interesting in a challenging way. It wasn't like it was like a garbagey trigger. It was just not what you'd be used to. You had to get used to it, and I kind of like that. I kind of like having to get used to the characteristics of something different. I never mind having to get used to the characteristics of something different like that. It was fun. It was fun to feel the trigger out. It was fun to use the sights like that, where it was kind of like a rifle sight. It was a little unusual. There's a couple of shotguns I've had with those rear sights, and they were awful. I don't know where they were shooting. I didn't know what to line up at. But with this, I knew. I was like, oh, if I got that bead right on that tip of that rear sight, it's right on the bird. It was dusting them. I had it set on full. I'm a full choke kind of guy, and it pointed great. The length of pull, you know, it felt right on my shoulder. It felt like a Mossberg, and you know, like I'm going through so many of these Mossbergs, and I'm playing around with them so much that I'm really becoming very fond of these things. I got to be honest with you, and it felt really good. It really did, and I could imagine this thing, not me wanting to put this thing into rotation, but like I was saying, you don't want to mess around with any high-speed ammo. You don't want to start getting into some stuff where you really want to get competitive and really try to like bring up your scores with it. You'd want to bring up the speed a little bit. You know what I mean? You try some. You know, it'd be like an ounce a shot, but up in the 1350 range. I had a box. I was tempted to try it, but I'm like, you know what? You come away from that game with a cracked stock, and you're really gonna feel like a dummy. You know, so you got to keep it where stay in your lane is what they say. You know what I mean? I think this should be a mild round. I got plenty of mild shotgun ammo, and you got to use it. So this is what you use it on. You know what I mean? The right tool for the right job. And I did shoot good. I was shooting in the 20s. I think the first two games were in the 20s, and then I think the last game I started just experimenting with stuff and playing around with it, and didn't do good with it. We had some weird people on the line, but I don't want to make excuses. That was just a horrible game. I didn't even ask what my score was, but it was in probably the low teens. But I did shoot I think it was a 19 and then a 20 with it, I think. And I felt like if I was really concentrating, and you know, I was just paying a lot of attention to the gun, and you know, setting up the video and wondering if the wind blew the camera down again and everything, and it gets a little hectic. But But that's it. So that's the Mossberg Model 200K, ladies and gentlemen. I loved it. Let's take a look at the yeah. Here's what it looked like in the gun store. This is what I'm looking at. Printed on it. This is what the magazine well looks like. It's like fuzzy, and yeah, that's it right there. Let's get the light back. Give me the light back. Mossberg and Sons, 12 gauge, 2 3/4 inch model, 200K. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. The Mossberg 200K, huge success. And, I'm not just saying that because it's a Mossberg. I'm not just saying that because I was proud that I bought a shotgun for $125 cash out the door. Plus, had to pay about half of that, maybe even a little more than half of that just for the magazine. I'm not complaining. It's and I'm not saying that just because now I have to like it. I like it. You know me. If it's terrible, I would tell you that it's terrible. It just, listen, doesn't sound like a Mossberg 500, but it sounds like its grandfather. Great. I guess it's great grandfather. I'd have to go through the chronology to check, but yeah, it might be 3 generations back. And all right, thanks for tuning in. Glad to have you guys. We got a lot of cool stuff on the horizon. Stay tuned and be well. And I'll see you out there.